we have to discuss this Hawaii thing. We're not going to let this thing go because this thing is looking worse and worse and worse the more we know. You know those news stories? Sometimes something terrible happens, and then the more you find out, it's not that it gets less terrible, but it's okay, I understand that. Oh, I get it. And then there are those stories where something terrible happens, and you think, wow, that's bad. And then every day you find out more and more and more, and you get horrified. Well, that's what's happening right now in Hawaii. Apparently, to survive, you had to avoid the barricades they put up?
And I was wondering what was stopping the traffic. Well, it was a policeman. And I got to the end and I looked up north. There were no obstructions. There was no reason to keep those cars there.
Are you serious?
I'm serious as a heart attack. And I said, what are you doing? He goes, well, I'm under orders to keep them here. And I said, the fire is right around Safeway. It's going to hit Front Street. You know, these people got to get out of here. And he said, I'm following orders.
No way.
And so I just kept walking. Well, maybe he knows something I don't, you know. So, and I keep walking down the highway, and I look behind, no cars are coming out. I walked all the way to Waikuli Beach, still no cars coming out. And I started hearing boom, boom, boom. And then I heard people screaming and stuff.
You're saying they were blockaded in by the police at the end of Front Street?
Yeah.
Don't think that that's just one guy. There are many reports saying they barricaded in people and you had to go around the barricades or you died. I'm going to play you, this is long, but I think you'll enjoy it. It's a bit I did on my radio show about this the other night, about what it's like in communist governments and what bad incidents, when they happen, about the cover-ups and the culture of fear and lies and the whys. Anyway, here it is.
How much do you know about Chernobyl, the nuclear disaster? I know you know what it is. The nuclear facility melts down in modern-day Ukraine. It was then part of the Soviet Union. And so I'm not going to insult your intelligence. I know you know what Chernobyl is. But if you want to understand what happened in Maui and why it happened, why wouldn't they sound the alarm? Why not release the water? Why not do this? Why are they still covering up? Why don't we know who's missing? Why don't we do that? I'm going to do something I don't know that I've ever done. I'm going to direct you to watch a piece of pop culture. Have I ever done that in my lifetime? I don't think I have. Or you can just read if you'd prefer to read, or maybe a podcast on it. But I'm going to play for you, what is it, a minute, 2 minutes, Chris? Minute or two? It's about a minute 30. HBO did a miniseries, an incredible miniseries on Chernobyl, on the disaster. And this is from episode 1, and I want to set up the scene for you. The disaster has happened. They know it's a disaster, and all the various Soviet officials gather around in a conference room. I'd play the whole thing for you if I could. It just wouldn't work for radio. And they start figuring out who's to blame. It's not me to blame. You're to blame. Okay, what should we do? Well, we can't do that. We can't do that. We can't do that. And a Soviet official stands up in front of them, and he gives this little speech. And if you want to understand why help didn't come, why the cover-up now, well, I'll let Chernobyl tell you.
That our faith in Soviet socialism will always be rewarded. Now, the state tells us the situation here is not dangerous. Have faith, comrades. The state tells us it wants to prevent a panic. Listen well. It's true. When the people see the police, they will be afraid. But it is my experience that when the people ask questions that are not in their own best interest, they should simply be told to keep their minds on their labor and leave matters of the state to the state. We seal off the city. No one leaves. And cut the phone lines. Contain the spread of misinformation. That is how we keep the people from undermining the fruits of their own labor. Yes, comrades. We will all be rewarded for what we do here tonight.
Have faith, comrades. Who tells you it's religion? And remember this little tidbit from there, which perked my ears up in particular, when he talks about, well, cops are going to cause a panic. Do I need to remind you of what the gentleman said, the gentleman who chose not to sound the alarm in Maui?
Do you regret not sounding the sirens?
I do not. And the reason why, and
So many people said they could have been saved if they had time to escape. Had a siren gone off, they would have known that there was a crisis emerging. And as we know, so many bodies were found in the ground.
Do you want him to give you the answer, or
I
do you
do,
want
but
to
I
give?
wanna- I
Well,
wanna
then let
get
him
it out
finish.
there.
Let him finish his
I'm
answer.
sorry, there's a lot of people.
Well, you're
who
talking
want
and you're not letting him
answers.
talk. If you want to talk, come up here.
I'm ready for the answer.
Then wait.
had we sounded the siren that night, we're afraid that people would have gone Malka. And if that was the case, then they would have gone into the fire.
If you want to understand what you're seeing in Maui and in your country, go read about Chernobyl. Go watch the miniseries. You and your family will enjoy it. It's eye-opening about what communism does.
Lies, deception, and the people die for it. That's what communism's like. I have great news. If you enjoyed that, I have a YouTube channel you can subscribe to. Whatever I do, it'll be right there on YouTube, so go subscribe today.